I would like to see us set up the way we did at Ipswich. I'm happy with Colton Morris playing up front by himself. If we can have a number 10 behind him as well. I just think I would like to see Travis and Clark play with probably Alder and Johnson as sort of the four in front of the back three because I thought that resulted really well at Ipswich and we probably would have won that game if it wasn't for all the time added on. But Wrexham, they've got nothing to lose. They're coming into this game on the back of an impressive win. They're scoring goals. Yes, they're leaking goals, but they've got a lot of threat going forward as well, a lot of aerial threat with Kiefer Moore and Josh Windass. So I would like to see us set up probably the same way that we did against Ipswich. And I think the way that we set up in the first half against Preston was sort of the way that we should set up away from home, if you know what I mean, in terms of not having possession and maybe having to hit teams on the counter attack. But yeah, so I'd probably like to see us set up the same way we did at Ipswich and West Brom. And going away from home, I haven't got a problem with that. I think it's the home games where we need to be a bit more on the front foot and play with a bit more urgency as well. Pride Park doesn't really seem to be a fortress anymore like it has been the last few seasons. It feels like we play with a lot more freedom away from home, which is interesting because it always seemed to be the opposite. But if we can set up similar to how we did at Ipswich and West Brom, I'd be very happy with that at Wrexham.
He's only won 3 in 10 at home, Eustace. His last 10 home games, all the 10 home games he's had in charge, he's only won 3 of them, Jack. There you go. There's a stat for you, Jack Bryan. I beat you to a stat.
There we go. Well done. You're going to be coming for this next. Do you want to write some stuff on the website, Chris?
No.
I suppose going back to that home stat though, it does make you wonder: are the players starting to feel the pressure because the expectation amongst Derby County fans is a lot higher than it has been the last few seasons because of the money that we're spending. And, we're sort of a club that is slowly but gradually on the up. So it makes you wonder, are the players, struggling under pressure playing in front of 29,000 fans? I think the expectation amongst the fans is quite divided as well. I've seen people who think this team can get the playoffs. I've seen people who think a mid-table season will be good. So it begs the question to why our home form has dropped so much.
Yeah. Well, I think realistically, just looking at that, I mean, what are the wins? There's Blackburn, Coventry, and blimey, what was the other one? Would have been Preston, would it not? The
Best.
uh, the game where we got last season, it was the Wednesday night, wasn't it, for Scythe and Jerry Yates, of course. And those are the only three wins. I think if you look back, a lot of what Derby did well to survive came from starting to pick up a few points on the road, as you say. So yeah, I think you both spot on there really in terms of making Pride Park a fortress. For Wrexham, I think the other key point as we look at their side for for Saturday is they do play a relatively similar formation to what we expect from Derby on Saturday. So it's a kind of 3-4-2-1, 3-5-2 type setup, wing back for wing back. My only question there would be around those individual battles out wide. Can uh, can Derby marshal the wing backs a bit better than they did on Saturday, really? Because I think it's fair to say a lot of what Preston did well in that first half came through Thierry Small and Paul Valentin. So that will be something to watch out for. Aside from that, you mentioned it, Kiefer Moore, aerial threat, and Josh Windass on fire too. Who do you expect to be the kind of star man for Wrexham, Chris?
Well, it depends if we nullify anything coming into the box. If we nullify the crosses, then Kiefer Moore will pretty much be out of the game. Josh Windass is the Josh Windass that we're all allegedly interested in a couple of years ago. I just think Wrexham have all of a sudden released their shackles and they've sort of almost like dipped their toe into the championship water for a few games to work out what it is. And let's be honest, they haven't got the most tactical inept manager, have they? In Phil Parkinson, he's lucky that he's got a treasure pot of riches that he's had in League Two and League One to pretty much buy himself into the situation he's in now. but they've been really astute and bought some very good players. I would probably say Josh Windass is the one to watch, because if we press the lines, which we probably will, and Wrexham break the lines easily, and we're as lethargic as we are against Preston in the first half, there's a pocket of space between our back line and the midfield, which we saw Preston enjoy for the first half. Well, let's be honest, Wrexham have got far more power in that final third. And I think it won't be a case of who is the star player, but more a case of how many goals could we potentially concede if we don't nullify A, the balls coming in from either side, either wing, and B, shutting up shop in that space. It just worries me that that gap was there for all to see between Adams, Travis, and the back three. That cannot happen, can it, Joe?
No, and in terms of players to look out for, I definitely think the two wing backs that they've got. We talked about how Derby were exposed with the wing backs against Preston, and Ryan Longman, he scored on Saturday. He was playing at left wing back, and Issa Kabore, I think I pronounced that right, on loan from Manchester City. He got 2 assists. He was playing at right wing back, and that was in Wrexham's 3-2 win on Saturday. So if the same problems happen on Saturday against Preston when that happened this weekend, then we will be punished, because Wrexham do have a lot of creativity out wide.
Yes. So the final thing to wrap this section of the podcast up before I bring you a positive update on the U's once more is some score predictions for Saturday. Chris, do you want to kick us off?
Well, I'm looking at the Wrexham lineup that they're playing tonight. They're currently 0-0 against Reading at half time in the EFL Cup. And they're pretty much playing a complete changed 11. So they're going to go in there pretty fresh, to be honest. Obviously, he sees the game against Derby far more important. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a 0-0. I just feel that we have enough to keep them out, but I'm not convinced we've got enough to go and score. But I'll take a West Brom 84th minute smash and grab all day long. But I'm going to go for a 0-0 on this one.
Joe?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go the opposite, actually. I think it'll be a bit of a goal fest. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I definitely think it's a game where there's going to be quite a few goals. And we all know that Wrexham are the entertainers of the Championship, aren't they? They concede a few, but they score equally as much. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, I think. And there's a lot of pressure on Parkinson as well, because I don't think Wrexham will be scared to sack him if they don't feel results are coming, especially with the money that they've spent. So a point apiece, I think, 2-2.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports and a lot of talk around that. One even linked them with return for club legend Darren Ferguson, who, of course, is struggling at Peterborough, so he's not turning forward. But I think the link there comes from him being Sir Alex's son and his playing days there. But yeah, there's some fascinating rumours swirling with Wrexham. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think you're right, Joe. And I think I'm going to sit squarely on the fence in the middle of your two predictions and say 1-1. Just to, apologies, it's a bit of a cop out, but I think we might nick something. Derby might nick something that yeah, I'd be stunned if Wrexham didn't score really, given their form. I think what is fair to say though is that however many goals we see in the game, it has the potential to be really entertaining. I mean, this could be a blockbuster fixture. That's something I've been sat on ever since I saw Wrexham coming up. So had to sneak that in somewhere. Anyway, enough of the rubbish puns.
Well, just going back to their managerial choice. When they do eventually sack Parkinson, will they be auditioning for a manager? Like, will they get Netflix to do the interviews? Or Disney Plus, sorry, do the interviews. Are they going to look for someone who's good in front of the camera? Because I still don't understand now how Parkinson has that job in the Championship. I would have thought they'd paid him off and go forward. But yeah, sorry, Jack. I'm just.